Learning a new game can be quite overwhelming, and Deadlock is no exception. And after playing over 100 games, I've made a list of 10 tips from things I've noticed while playing. This video is going to be targeted towards beginners, and hopefully by the end of the video, I hope you learned something new. Alright, tip number 1. Denying enemy souls. Souls play a crucial role in Deadlock, serving both as experience for leveling and currency for purchasing items. So early success in the laning phase will depend entirely on how effective you are at securing or denying enemy souls, setting the tone for the rest of the match. This leads to tip number 2, which is melee low health troopers. Not only will you be saving ammo, but you will also instantly secure the soul, preventing them from floating away and giving the enemy the chance to deny them. Always keep an eye out on your minimap in Deadlock. If you notice enemies missing from a nearby lane, they might be setting up a gank. The minimap is a crucial tool for tracking enemy movements and preventing surprise attacks. See enemies missing, pull back, and play it safe. Parry. When you perform a parry, you'll become immune to enemy attacks. And if an enemy does try to strike you, they will be stunned. While stunned, the enemy will take 30% increased damage from melee attacks. And here's an example of how powerful parries can be. As you can see, I'm low on HP, and 7 tries to land a melee attack while I parry just in time and secure the kill with 2 of my own melee attacks. Tip number 5. This might seem like a basic tip, but just don't use your zipline boost at the start of the match. Instead, save it for when you're low on HP during the laning phase. Just look back at the zipline and boost, and you'll head straight to spawn and where you can heal up. And even if you do hop off the zipline at base, you'll still retain the boost until it expires, which you can track on the left side of the HUD where other ongoing effects are also shown. As you roam around the map, you'll often come across crates, boxes, and vases. Melee, shoot, or dash into them, and they'll often drop souls. You'll also find golden statues which provide permanent stacking buffs like increased max HP, weapon damage, spirit power, fire rate, ammo, and cooldown reduction. These buffs accumulate over the match and can make a huge difference. Alright, before we continue on, let's talk about today's sponsor, World of Tanks. World of Tanks is an awesome free-to-play tank warfare game on PC and consoles. There's a huge arsenal of tanks to choose from tank destroyers, self-propelled artillery, light, medium, and heavy tanks. How you play is up to you. Russian guns blazing, ambush your opponents, or hang back and take him out from afar. With over 800 tanks, there's always a new way to play. History meets action, and with over 40 different maps, you can roll onto the fields of France, climb steep hills, sneak through canyons, and tear across the deserts of Africa, with iconic tanks like the M4 Sherman, Tiger tanks, and much more. If you click the link in the description below, play World of Tanks and use promo code COMBAT, new players will get the Cromwell B tank, 250k credits, 7 days of premium access, and rentals of the Tiger 131, T78, and Type 64. And existing players will get rewards too, such as 3 days of premium access and a rental of the Centurion Mark V. Thank you again to Wargaming for sponsoring this video. Alright, now back to Deadlock. Now I'm going to talk about intermediate tips, but they're more like concepts you have to understand. Like tip number 7, power spikes. What are power spikes and how do you utilize them? A power spike refers to a point in the game when a hero temporarily becomes stronger, allowing them to be more effective in fights, skirmishes, and other in-game scenarios. For example, with Haze, I've just unlocked my ultimate and I just purchased Bullet Lifesteal, a key item for her, allowing her to heal while using her ultimate. As you can see, even though I'm low on health, I know I can easily take out this paradox using this advantage. Another example of a power spike is leveling and unlocking abilities. Souls reflect a player's experience. At 500 souls, you unlock your second ability. At 1500 souls, you unlock your third ability. And at 3000, your ultimate. So let's say during the laning phase, you just unlock your ultimate, and your opponent hasn't reached 3000 souls yet. With this information, you should try to play more aggressively as you do have the upper hand with an additional ability. And again, in this match, I do have my ultimate available and Paradox does not, and so I just push the tower with the safety of my ultimate. Now on to the next tip. Tip number 8, split pushing. Split pushing involves moving to a weak or undefended lane and applying pressure by pushing the wave to gain guardians or walkers. In Deadlock, this strategy is pretty OP. Not only does it reward you with souls, but also flex slots and more importantly vision, by pushing your troopers deeper into the enemy side of the map. In the mid to late game, when the enemy team tends to group up to push down a lane, check the minimap and start split pushing the furthest lane away. Oftentimes, the enemy will either split up to counter your push or ignore it, allowing you to push all the way to their shrine. Of course, that's not always the case and you will be vulnerable to ganks, so always keep an eye on the minimap to see if the enemy presence starts to fade or an enemy is about to respawn. They're more likely going to be pushing down the lane you're split pushing, so consider using the zipline to relocate or farm further down the lane. Tip number 9. Farming souls efficiently. Souls are everything in the game. The more souls you have, the more items you can buy, the higher damage you can do, so farming efficiently is key. During early to mid game, you want to prioritize enemy waves over neutral camps whenever possible, as they do provide more souls. After pushing a wave, clear the nearby camps while waiting for the next wave to drop. It's also important to recognize when certain camps are worth your time. For example, if farming a hard camp takes you 30 seconds to a minute, you're likely better off farming enemy waves for more souls instead. Now here's some information about neutral camps, locations, and timers. And since the game is still in the development phase, things are prone to change, and so this will probably be different, probably a week, since it's Valve. Tip number 10, don't die. Don't die might sound like a really obvious tip, but in Deadlock and other MOBAs, it's something huge. Dying means losing souls, giving up map control, and handing the enemy the easiest pathway to victory. Death timers during late game can be very long, and during that time you're dead, the enemy can farm lanes, take neutral objectives, and push the map. Consistently dying back to back or engaging in fights with no purpose only widens the soul gap. What I'm trying to say is that during the late game, only risk dying when the reward outweighs the cost. For example, if you can unlock a flex slot by soloing the enemy shrine, even at the cost of your own life, it might be worth it. And over time, you'll learn when these risks are worth it. And this tip is generally towards the players I've been seeing who are very aggressive during late game and they just want to keep fighting. Anyway guys, those are my 9 tips from my 100 games of Deadlock. It's been a long video, but if you guys enjoyed it and learned something new, hit that like button. And if you guys want to see more Deadlock content, hit that subscribe button. This is Askeladd. Peace out.